In Las Vegas, everything is a gamble. The slots, the tables, the shows, and apparently, the buildings themselves. Right now, on and around the Las Vegas Strip, there are billions of dollars worth of concrete, steel, and broken dreams. Just sitting there. Projects that promise to change the skyline forever. Hotels that sold millions in reservations before laying a single brick. Towers that were supposed to employ thousands, and ended up employing nobody. Instead, they became monuments to bad timing, corporate hubris, and the biggest financial collapse since the Great Depression. I'm going to show you 10 construction projects that swallowed billions of dollars and gave back nothing but empty shells, legal battles, and broken promises. Some sat empty for over a decade. Some were torn down without ever opening. One took 16 years to finally let guests check in. Let's start with a casino that actually managed to open and still died within 2 years. If you're fascinated by the dark side of Vegas, the stuff the tourism ads will never show you, hit subscribe. We dig into what really happens behind the neon. Alright, let's count some losses. Number 10, the Lucky Dragon, a 200-room casino that opened, closed, and was demolished, all within 8 years. December 2016, the Lucky Dragon makes history. The first ground-up casino built near the Strip in 6 years. $160 million of Asian-inspired luxury. The concept, target Chinese high rollers, the growing wave of wealthy Asian gamblers who were flooding Vegas with cash. The Dragon was going to capture that market, become the destination for Asian whales. 13 months later, the Dragon was dead. The Chinese high roller market they were counting on, it evaporated. Beijing cracked down on money leaving the country. VIP gambling dried up across the entire industry. The Lucky Dragon bet everything on one customer segment, and when that segment vanished, so did their business model. For 6 years, the property sat empty. A perfectly good building, rotting in the desert sun. In 2024, they finally tore it down. Less than a decade after it opened. $160 million. Opened 13 months, empty 6 years, demolished. The Lucky Dragon died fast, clean, if brutal. But number 9 is a slower, more painful kind of death. A hotel that keeps changing names, changing owners, changing concepts, hoping you'll forget how badly it keeps failing. Number 9, SLS Las Vegas, or as it's also been called, Sahara, then SLS, then Sahara again. The hotel that can't figure out what it wants to be. The Sahara opened in 1952. For decades, it was a Vegas legend. The Beatles stayed there. Jerry Lewis performed there. It was the real deal. By 2011, the legend was tired. The Sahara closed its doors. Then SBE Entertainment swooped in, $415 million to transform this old school icon into something modern, trendy, cool. In 2014, SLS Las Vegas opened. The concept, bring LA nightclub energy to Vegas. Bottle service, velvet ropes. The beautiful people. One problem, Vegas isn't LA. The trendy crowd didn't come. The gamblers didn't fit the vibe. The identity was confusing. SLS struggled for 4 years, never turned a consistent profit. Sold in 2018 to Meruelo Group, their solution, changed the name back to Sahara. In 2020, the property became the Sahara again. Full circle, different decade, same identity crisis. $415 million, 4 owners, 3 names, 0 consistent profit. SLS at least opened multiple times under multiple names. Number 8 hasn't even managed that. It's been about to open for 4 years now, and counting. Number 8, Dream Las Vegas, the hotel that's been coming soon since 2021. The announcement was perfect. 2021, Vegas bouncing back from COVID, a new boutique hotel right next to Allegiant Stadium, 531 rooms, $550 million. The location couldn't be better. Raiders games, concerts, events, a captive audience of tens of thousands right next door, needing hotel rooms. Opening was supposed to be 2024. It's 2025. Where are we? Funding problems, contractor disputes, new opening dates announced, then quietly missed. The dream keeps promising, the dream keeps delaying, the dream keeps dreaming. Lucky Dragon opened and died. SLS keeps changing names. Dream keeps making promises, but those are the small ones. The $100 million mistakes. The $400 million identity crises. The next 7 projects? We're talking billions. Steel skeletons that towered over the Strip for years. Land worth more than some countries' GDP, sitting completely empty. Buildings that were finished, and then torn down without hosting a single guest. When Vegas fails, it fails big. And we're just getting started. Lucky Dragon died fast. SLS keeps shapeshifting. Dream keeps promising. Those are the projects that at least broke ground. That at least tried. The next three, they never even got that far. Billions of dollars announced. Renderings released. Press conferences held. And then nothing for years. Sometimes over a decade. Number 7, the Allnet Resort and Arena, the project that has been announced so many times, it's become a Vegas inside joke. First announced 2013, 12 years ago. The promise, a 23,000-seat arena, a casino, multiple hotel towers, an entertainment complex that would anchor the South Strip. Budget, $1.4 billion. Developer, the Jackie Robinson Development Group. No relation to the baseball legend, just the name. 2016 came and went. Nothing. In 2017, they announced again, new plans, revised designs, opening 2020. 2020 came and went, nothing. In 2021, another announcement, redesigned, reimagined, coming 2023, 2023, 2024, 2025. The lot sits there, empty. Unchanged. 12 years of press releases, 12 years of renderings, 12 years of coming soon. 0 shovels, 0 concrete, 0 guests, ever. Allnet keeps announcing, year after year, the announcement that announces itself. But number 6 actually had everything lined up. A major international casino company, billions in backing, approved plans, prime strip land. They walked away anyway, and you won't believe what they built instead. Number 6, Alain Las Vegas, where one of the world's largest casino companies planned a 4,000-room mega resort and then turned it into a golf course. The location was legendary. The New Frontier site, one of the original strip casinos, prime real estate that developers had been fighting over for years. In 2007, they imploded the New Frontier, made way for something bigger, something spectacular. Enter Crown Resorts, Australian gaming giant, backed by billionaire James Packer, one of the biggest names in global gambling. Their plan, Alain Las Vegas, a $1.5 billion boutique luxury resort, 1,100 rooms initially, expandable to 4,000, sleek, modern, the future of strip luxury. They had the money, they had the land, they had the gaming licenses, everything was approved. Then things got complicated. Crown's billionaire backer got tangled in regulatory issues. China cracked down on foreign gambling companies. Licensing problems emerged in Australia. The project kept getting pushed. 2016 opening became 2017, then 2018, then silence. In 2015, Crown quietly sold the land to Wynn Resorts. The dream was dead, so what did Wynn do with this irreplaceable strip front real estate? This land that Crown valued at hundreds of millions? They built a golf course, the most valuable undeveloped land on the Las Vegas Strip, billion-dollar mega resort plans, international casino company backing, now used by rich people to chase a little white ball around in the desert. A lawn became a golf course. At least something got built, even if it's not what anyone expected. But number 5 isn't one project, it's an entire category of failure. A graveyard of luxury condos, where thousands of optimistic buyers put down deposits, real money, real dreams, on buildings that would never exist. Number 5, the Las Vegas condo graveyard. Not one project, an entire generation of them. To understand this, you have to remember 2006, 2007, the peak of the bubble. Las Vegas was the hottest real estate market in America. Everyone wanted in, and developers were happy to take their money. Spanish Steps at City Center, ultra luxury living. W Residences Las Vegas, W Hotel brand condos. Havana Las Vegas. Yes, that Havana. Pinnacle Las Vegas. Downtown Luxury Tower, Sky Las Vegas, Promised the Sky, delivered lawsuits. Thousands of buyers put down deposits, 10%, 20%, hundreds of thousands of dollars for condos that existed only as renderings and promises. September 2008, Lehman Brothers collapses, credit markets freeze, the world economy goes into freefall, and one by one, the condo projects died. Spanish Steps canceled, W Residences canceled, Havana Las Vegas canceled, Pinnacle scaled back to nothing. Those deposits, getting them back wasn't easy. Some buyers sued, some waited years, some never recovered their money at all. Over $2 billion in promised development, virtually none completed as planned. Look at the Vegas skyline today. See the gaps? The spaces where towers should be. Those are the ghosts of the condo boom. The vertical city that was never built. The billion-dollar promises that evaporated overnight. Never announced, never built, never delivered. That's frustrating. That's money lost on paper. But the next two projects, they didn't just announce. They didn't just plan. They actually built. Billions of dollars of steel and concrete went up, and then it all just stopped for years. The whole strip had to watch these monuments to failure. Every single day, when the building stops, the embarrassment begins. Announcements that led nowhere, plans that never broke ground, deposits that vanished into lawsuits. That's frustrating. That's money lost on spreadsheets and in courtrooms. But the next two, these you could see every single day for years. Billions of dollars of steel and concrete rising from the desert, and then just stopping, frozen, rusting, embarrassing everyone who had to look at them. Not number 4, Echelon Place, the $4.8 billion project that became the most famous skeleton on the Las Vegas Strip. Boyd Gaming didn't think small. The plan, take the legendary Stardust site, one of the most valuable pieces of land in Las Vegas, and build something unprecedented. 5 hotel towers, 5,300 rooms total, a massive casino, convention space, retail, entertainment, budget, $4.8 billion, one of the largest privately funded projects ever proposed in Las Vegas. March 2007, they imploded the Stardust. 63 years of history, gone in seconds, making room for the future. Construction started immediately. Cranes went up, steel started rising, everything was on schedule. By early 2008, you could see it taking shape. The bones of something massive, the skeleton of a new Vegas landmark. Then came August 2008. The financial markets didn't just dip, they collapsed. Credit evaporated overnight. Banks stopped lending. The entire global economy went into cardiac arrest. Boyd Gaming looked at their books, looked at the credit markets, looked at the half-built skeleton rising from the desert, and made the only decision they could. They stopped completely overnight. $4 billion of planning, billions already spent, and now nothing. For over a decade, that steel skeleton sat there, rusting in the desert sun, collecting dust, becoming the most expensive ghost. On the Strip, tourists would ask, "What's that empty building?" Locals would sigh, "That's Echelon. It's complicated." In 2013, Boyd finally gave up, sold the entire site to Genting Group, a Malaysian casino company, for $350 million, a fraction of what they'd invested. A fire sale for one of the biggest failures in Vegas history. Genting didn't try to salvage Boyd's skeleton. They tore it down, started over completely. In 2021, 14 years after the Stardust implosion, Resorts World Las Vegas finally opened on the site. Different owner, different name, different vision. Boyd's $4.8 billion dream, someone else's $4.3 billion reality, and Boyd walked away with almost nothing. Echelon at least got reborn, different owner, different name, but something stands there now. Number 3 didn't even get that. For 7 years, some of the most valuable land in America just sat there, doing absolutely nothing. Number 3, the Stardust site, or as locals called it for almost a decade, the most expensive parking lot in America. The Stardust wasn't just a hotel, it was Vegas history carved in neon. Open 1958. For years, the largest hotel in the world. Mob connections that inspired movies. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Siegfried and Roy got their start there. That sign, one of the most photographed landmarks in America. March 13th, 2007. They blew it up. 63 years of history turned to dust in 13 seconds. The plan was clear: make room for Echelon, the future, the next chapter. The future was supposed to arrive in 2010. The future never came. When Echelon froze, the Stardust site became something unprecedented in Las Vegas history. 63 acres of prime Las Vegas Strip frontage, North, Wynn, and Encore, surrounded by billions in operating casinos. And in the middle, nothing. Dirt, weeds, chain link fence. Let's do some math. A resort on that land could generate $50 to $100 million per year, minimum. 7 years of nothing. That's $500 million in lost revenue, just evaporated into the desert air. Not to mention the jobs, the tax revenue, the economic activity that never happened. For 7 years, visitors to Las Vegas asked the same question: what's that giant empty lot? And locals had to explain, that's where the Stardust used to be. That's where the future was supposed to be. That's where billions of dollars went to die. It became a symbol of the crash, of overreach, of the dark side of Vegas ambition. In 2021, Resorts World finally filled the void, 14 years after the Stardust fell. But for 7 years, the most valuable land in Las Vegas was just a hole, a reminder, a warning. Echelon froze and eventually got replaced. The Stardust hole eventually got filled. But number two is different. They didn't just start building, they finished building. 28 stories of concrete and steel, hundreds of rooms ready for guests. And then they discovered something that changed everything. Something so wrong with how it was built. They had to tear the whole thing down without a single guest ever checking in. Echelon became someone else's success story. The Stardust hole eventually got filled. Those projects froze. Those projects stalled, but eventually something rose from the ashes. Number 2 didn't get that chance. Number 2 was built, finished, ready for guests, and then torn down every single floor without ever opening its doors. Number 2, the Harmon Hotel and Spa. $275 million of concrete and steel that never hosted a single guest. Not one. To understand the Harmon, you need to understand what it was part of. City Center, MGM's $8.5 billion bet on the future of Las Vegas, the largest privately funded construction project in American history. At its peak, 10,000 workers on site, 16 cranes in the air, multiple hotels, condo towers, retail, all rising simultaneously. And within this city within a city, the Harmon, the boutique jewel, 49 stories, 400 rooms, adults only, ultra exclusive. The design was striking, modern, the kind of building architecture critics write about. Construction was moving fast, too fast as it turned out. Somewhere around the 15th floor, inspectors noticed something wrong. The reinforcing steel wasn't installed correctly. The rebar that's supposed to hold the building together during an earthquake? Improperly placed, improperly tied, improperly everything. Independent engineers were brought in. Their findings were devastating. The building might not survive a major earthquake. The structural integrity was compromised. The errors weren't in one section, they were throughout. They stopped at 28 floors, less than half the intended height, and even that might have been too much. MGM sued Perini Building Company, the general contractor. Billions of dollars at stake. The testimony was brutal. Rushed work to meet impossible deadlines. Warnings ignored by management. Corners cut throughout the project. Quality sacrificed for speed. The lawsuit dragged on for years. Accusations, counter-accusations, expert witnesses, hundreds of millions in legal fees. In 2014, they settled, terms confidential, but everyone knew the building was doomed. For years, the Harmon just stood there. 28 stories of unusable building. All around it, City Center thrived. Aria filled with guests. Vidara sold condos. Crystals drew shoppers. And the Harmon sat dark, empty. A $275 million monument to failure, right in the middle of MGM's crown jewel. What's that building? That's the Harmon. It's never opening. Why not? Because they built it wrong. In 2014, they finally started tearing it down, but you can't just implode a building in the middle of an operating resort complex. Too dangerous, too close to everything. So they took it apart piece by piece, floor by floor for 2 years. 2 years to demolish what should have been a crown jewel. Construction cost, $275 million. Legal fees, tens of millions more. Lost revenue, $50 million per year, minimum. Years of embarrassment, 7. Total guests hosted, 0. Today, if you walk through City Center, there's a gap, a space, a plaza where a 400-room hotel was supposed to stand. $275 million, bought nothing but a lawsuit and a hole. The Harmon was a tragedy, a building that was built, never used, and demolished. But number one makes the Harmon look like a rounding error. For over a decade, the tallest building on the Las Vegas Strip wasn't a successful casino, wasn't a thriving hotel. It was an empty shell, 67 stories of nothing, $3.5 billion, 16 years from groundbreaking to opening, the longest, most expensive, most painful construction disaster in Las Vegas history. Number 1, the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas. 67 stories, $3.5 billion, and the longest, most painful construction saga in Las Vegas history. Yes, it finally opened December 2023, 16 years and 10 months after they broke ground. Let me show you how we got here. February 2007, the peak of Vegas expansion. Money was cheap, dreams were limitless, and one of the most legendary hotel names in America was coming to the Strip, the Fontainebleau Miami Beach, opened 1954, where the Rat Pack played. played, where James Bond filmed, where American luxury hospitality was defined. Now, that name was coming to Vegas, and they weren't thinking small. Budget, $2.9 billion. Later ballooned to $3.5 billion. Rooms, 3,889. Height, 735 feet. The tallest building on the Strip. Target opening, late 2009. Construction moved fast. By early 2009, the tower was 70% complete. You could see it from everywhere. The tallest building on the Strip rising day by day. The future of Las Vegas reaching for the sky. Then the world ended. Financially anyway. Lehman Brothers collapsed. Credit markets seized. Banks stopped lending to anyone for anything. The greatest financial crisis since the Great Depression. And suddenly, the billions needed to finish the Fontainebleau. Gone. Evaporated. No one was lending money for massive casino projects anymore. June 2009, with the building 70% complete, $2 billion already spent, Fontainebleau Las Vegas filed for bankruptcy. Overnight, the tallest building on the Strip became the tallest failure on the Strip. For over a decade, that shell sat there. 67 stories of nothing, visible from every part of the city. A constant, unavoidable reminder of the crash. What's that big empty building? That's the Fontainebleau. Long story. Is it ever going to open? Nobody knows anymore. Owner after owner tried to resurrect it. None succeeded. 2009, bankrupt. Sold at auction for $156 million. Original investment, over $2 billion. Loss, 96%. 2010, Carly Khan buys it for around $150 million. 2017, sold to Witkoff Group and New Valley for $600 million. 2021, Koch Industries invests billions more. 2023, finally opens. Every few years, a new announcement. Opening next year, then silence. Then another announcement, then more silence. Vegas journalists stopped taking the announcement seriously. Fontainebleau opening soon became a punchline, a joke, a symbol of empty promises. December 13th, 2023, 16 years and 10 months after groundbreaking, the Fontainebleau Las Vegas finally opened. Real guests, real rooms, real gambling after all those years of nothing. But here's the thing about finally. Original budget, $2.9 billion. Final cost, $3.5 billion plus. Time from groundbreaking to opening, 16 years, 10 months. Years sitting empty, 14 plus. Original investors' losses, billions. Ownership changes, 4 plus. Bankruptcies, 1. The people who started this project, the original investors who believed in the dream, they lost almost everything. 96% loss at auction. Billions evaporated. The people who won, the ones who bought the corpse for pennies on the dollar and waited for the right moment. Someone else's dream, someone else's loss, someone else's success. The Fontainebleau isn't number one because it failed. It's number one because it took 16 years to succeed. Every single day for over a decade, the tallest building on the Las Vegas Strip stood as a monument to failure. A reminder that Vegas dreams can die, slowly, publicly, expensively. 14 years of, is it ever going to open? 14 years of tourists asking and locals shrugging. 14 years of the skyline being defined by an empty shell. That it eventually opened doesn't erase those 14 years, doesn't bring back the billions lost by original investors, doesn't undo its time as the most expensive failure in Las Vegas history. The Fontainebleau finally won, but it took 16 years, multiple bankruptcies, and billions in losses to get there. That's not a success story, that's a survival story. 10 projects, $15 billion, decades of empty steel and broken promises. What does all of this teach us? Lesson 1. Timing is everything. Most of these projects died or stalled in 2008, 2009. The crash didn't care how good your plans were, didn't care how much you'd already spent. When credit disappears, dreams disappear with it. Lesson 2. Vegas thinks bigger than reality. 4,000 rooms, $5 billion. The tallest building on the Strip, Vegas, doesn't do modest, and when big fails, it fails spectacularly. Lesson 3. Announcements mean nothing. Allnet has been coming soon for 12 years. Groundbreakings get press coverage. Openings are what actually matter. Until guests check in, it's all just promises. Lesson 4. The Strip always fills eventually. Echelon became Resorts World. Fontainebleau finally opened. The Stardust hole got filled. Vegas always comes back. The city is relentless, but the money lost along the way never does. Las Vegas is built on gambles. Most of the time they pay off. The city rises, the lights shine, the tourists come. But sometimes the gamble loses, spectacularly, publicly, for years, for decades. Next time you walk the strip, look closer. Look for the gaps, the empty lots, the buildings that took way too long. Look at the Fontainebleau and remember, that building sat empty for 14 years. That's the Vegas they don't put in the brochures. The Vegas where billions go to die. If this video showed you a Vegas you didn't know existed, hit subscribe. We dig into the stories behind the neon, the stuff the tourism board hopes you never find out. Drop a comment. Have you seen any of these sites? Did you ever wonder what those empty buildings were? Have a Vegas construction mystery you want us to investigate? Check out our video on Vegas hotels falling apart behind the scenes, or the ripoffs that make Vegas locals furious. Thanks for watching. Remember, in Vegas, everything's a gamble, including the buildings.